Rikers underwater escape route. Fact or myth? Buried beneath one of the most infamous jails in America, there are whispers of a secret, a hidden passage, a route carved into the shadows of New York's underworld. Some call it a myth, others swear it's real. Tonight, we dive deep into the legend of Rikers Island's rumored underwater escape route. Fact or fiction? The legend is born. When Rikers Island was first expanded in the 1930s, workers dredged thousands of tons of landfill from the East River. Rumors quickly spread. Whispers that hidden service tunnels had been carved beneath the waters, connecting the jail to secret exits in Queens and the Bronx. To most New Yorkers, these whispers were nothing but urban folklore. But inside the walls of Rikers, where desperation fuels imagination, the myth became something far more powerful: hope. Prison break fantasies. Prisoners dream of escape, always have, always will. But Rikers is not Alcatraz. Here, the walls are crumbling, the guards overwhelmed, and the East River, just a stone's throw away, teases with the possibility of freedom. So the story spread. An underwater tunnel, built either by corrupt officials, military engineers, or mobsters who once controlled New York's docks. Fact, or the desperate fantasy of men staring at the same four walls day after day. First escape attempts. Throughout the decades, inmates have risked everything to cross the East River. Some tried swimming, clinging to plastic bags or makeshift rafts. Many drowned in the icy waters. But each failed attempt only added fuel to the legend. Some swore these prisoners weren't trying to swim at all. They were trying to find the secret route beneath the water. The mob connection. New York's mob controlled everything in the mid-20th century. Construction, the docks, the unions. If anyone could have secretly built an escape route under Rikers, it would have been them. Rumors claim mob bosses paid off contractors during the landfill expansion, that a tunnel, part sewage line, part smuggling passage, was created, running from Rikers straight into Queens. Of course, no official document has ever confirmed this, but on the inside, mobsters whispered about it like gospel. Government denials blueprints. Ask city officials about Rikers Island and they'll laugh off the myth. No secret tunnels, no underwater escape routes. But here's the truth. Blueprints for Rikers Island's expansion in the 1930s and 1950s are incomplete. Entire sections are missing, redacted, or simply gone. Sewer layouts, utility schematics, drainage maps that just stop. Why would entire portions of architectural plans vanish? Officials claim it's a matter of outdated records, but to those inside, especially inmates, the blanks are evidence of something hidden. The inmate who claimed he saw the tunnel. In 1978, one inmate, whose name has been kept out of official records, made a bold claim. He said he found the entrance. Not a rumor, not a map, but the real thing. A service tunnel that dipped beneath the East River. He told reporters after his release that he crawled down a drainage shaft during a maintenance failure. He swore it opened into a long, sloping tunnel leading out toward the Bronx. He didn't escape. He panicked, turned back, and was caught by guards before he could make another attempt. But his story spread like wildfire inside Rikers. To this day, inmates trade his tale like contraband. The man who touched freedom and then lost it. Underwater exploration teams, the hunt for truth. In the 1990s, New York City's police dive team searched the waters around Rikers for contraband, drowned bodies, even missing escapees. But divers reported something strange. Beneath the surface, near the island's northern edge, they found collapsed concrete slabs, hollow cavities, and pipe systems, larger than expected. Some divers even claimed they felt drafts of moving air, as if tunnels once ran beneath the river. Officially, these were dismissed as construction debris, But unofficially, some divers whispered they had found the entrance to something much bigger. Escape route or death trap. Even if a tunnel did exist, it would be far from a clean escape. The East River is freezing, the currents are brutal, and decades of decay would have turned any hidden passage into a coffin filled with black water and collapsing stone. To chase freedom down there would mean gambling with death. But in Rikers, where life itself feels like a slow death, some inmates would risk it all. Modern conspiracies leaked maps. In the 2000s, the legend entered the digital age. Online forums began circulating leaked maps of Rikers' supposed tunnel system. Some showed lines stretching from Rikers into Astoria, Queens. Others pointed to hidden exits near LaGuardia Airport. Most were dismissed as hoaxes, Photoshop, fantasy, but a few too detailed to ignore. Were these the work of conspiracy theorists or of insiders who had seen what officials won't admit? The final verdict, fact or myth? So, is there really an underwater escape route beneath Rikers Island? The evidence is thin, the denials are loud, but legends have power, and for the men locked away inside those walls, belief in a hidden passage may be the last hope of freedom. Fact or myth? Maybe that's not the real question. Maybe the real story is what the legend says about Rikers itself, a place so feared, so desperate, that inmates would rather believe in an impossible tunnel under the East River than in the possibility of justice above it. The legend is born, I'm 32. The East River smelled of gasoline, iron, and sewage. Barges floated like steel coffins, carrying thousands of tons of city garbage to a desolate patch of land, Rikers Island. Back then, Rikers wasn't the sprawling jail complex it is today. It was a dumping ground, a swampy, mosquito-infested outpost. But New York had plans, big plans. They wanted a prison fortress that would stand apart from the city, isolated, unreachable, surrounded by water. Construction crews labored day and night, extending Rikers from 87 acres to nearly 400. They buried the island under refuse, concrete, and dirt dredged from the riverbed. And with the construction came stories, whispers that the workers weren't just laying foundations, that some of them, paid off by mob bosses or working under city secrecy, were carving passages beneath the water, not official sewer lines, not drainage, something else. These whispers passed into rumor, and rumor into legend. Soon, a story emerged that would haunt Rikers for decades. An underwater escape route, a tunnel connecting the island's belly to the outside world. The public dismissed it, but inside Rikers, the legend was fuel. A story that gave inmates one thing the walls tried to strip away: hope. Prison break fantasies. Prison is fertile ground for stories of escape. For every wall that rises, 1,000 minds imagine ways through it. At Rikers, escape was nearly impossible. The island is surrounded on all sides by the East River, icy, polluted, filled with unpredictable currents. But that didn't stop the rumors. If men could tunnel under walls in Sing Sing, if Alcatraz could be breached by raft, why not Rikers? And unlike other prisons, Rikers sat within sight of Manhattan. Just across the water, the city glowed like a taunt. Freedom was so close, inmates could taste it. That's why the legend stuck: a secret tunnel beneath the river, a hidden path to Queens or the Bronx. Most inmates knew it was fantasy, but fantasies matter. In a place built on despair, even the slimmest chance of escape keeps the spirit alive. For some, the tunnel was real simply because it had to be. First escape attempts. From the 1940s onward, escape attempts from Rikers almost always involved the water. Some men tied milk cartons together as makeshift rafts. Others clung to garbage bags inflated with air. One even tried strapping plastic bottles to his body like a life vest. Most were caught, many drowned, But among the inmates, these failures fed a strange belief. Maybe these men weren't just trying to swim across. Maybe they were searching for the entrance to the tunnel. Each body pulled from the river added weight to the myth. No one risked their life for nothing, inmates reasoned. If men were willing to die searching the water, then something had to be there. The mob connection. Rikers was built during the golden age of the American mob, and the mob controlled everything in New York: construction companies, unions, docks, even city officials. According to whispers, it was mob money that carved out the tunnel, not to help petty thieves or drunks, but to ensure that if one of Todd or high-ranking soldiers ever landed in Rikers, they had an exit plan. No documents confirm it. No blueprints show it. But mobsters had a way of making things disappear. Records, witnesses, whole stories swallowed by time. And for decades, inmates claimed that mob-connected prisoners spoke of the tunnel like it was no myth, but a family secret. Government denials the blueprints. When pressed about the rumors, the Department of Correction has always been clear. There are no secret tunnels, no underwater escape routes. But when researchers dig into Rikers' construction history, things get complicated. Blueprints of the island's original 1930s expansion exist, yet entire portions are missing. Drainage maps that should connect back to the Queen's sewer system suddenly cut off. Utility diagrams with entire sections labeled restricted. Officials chalk it up to sloppy record keeping, but inside the prison walls, inmates read those blank spaces differently. Where the paper trail ends, imagination begins. And for the desperate, imagination can feel like truth. The inmate who claimed he saw the tunnel. In 1978, an inmate stepped forward with a shocking claim. He said he had seen the tunnel with his own eyes. According to his story, he slipped into a drainage shaft during a maintenance malfunction. The shaft, he said, dipped lower and lower until he found himself standing in a half-flooded corridor. He claimed the tunnel angled out from under Rikers toward the Bronx, sloping beneath the East River itself. He panicked. He turned back. By the time he tried again, the grate had been resealed. Guards caught him near the shaft and threw him in solitary. He never made it out, but his words did. After release, he gave an interview to a local paper describing the tunnel in detail. His account was quickly discredited, dismissed as fantasy. But inside Rikers, his story lived on. For decades, inmates whispered, he touched freedom, and then he lost it. The divers. In the 1990s, NYPD dive teams were assigned to sweep the waters around Rikers. They weren't looking for tunnels. They were searching for contraband, weapons, even missing escapees. But what some divers found raised more questions than answers. According to off-the-record accounts, they discovered collapsed stonework beneath the northern edge of the island, cavities in the riverbed, concrete archways half buried in silt, and strangest of all, pockets of moving air. Officially, the city explained it away: debris from construction, leftover landfill, sewer maintenance. Unofficially, some divers swore they had stumbled across the skeleton of an abandoned tunnel system. But if they had, who built it and why? Escape route or death trap? Even if the tunnel existed, reaching it and surviving it would be nearly impossible. The East River is treacherous. Its tides shift like a predator. Currents can sweep a man under in seconds. And if a tunnel was built in the 1930s, decades of rot and collapse would have turned it into a coffin of stone and water. Freedom through that passage would mean gambling with drowning in pitch darkness. But in Rikers, where life itself can feel like a slow death, some inmates would gladly take that gamble. Digital age conspiracies. In the 2000s, the legend escaped the island walls and entered the internet. conspiracy forums began circulating what they claimed were leaked maps of Rikers. The diagrams showed red lines branching out from beneath the jail, one stretching into Queens, another toward LaGuardia Airport. Most experts dismissed them as hoaxes, doctored images, fantasies, but a few were disturbingly detailed, matching sections of sewer maps that the public shouldn't have had access to. Were they the work of conspiracy theorists with Photoshop, or of insiders leaking what they weren't supposed to share? The verdict. So, does Rikers really hide an underwater escape route? The evidence is scarce, the denials are loud, but legends? Legends don't need proof. Inside Rikers, where hope is a scarce commodity, the idea of a tunnel beneath the river isn't just a story. It's survival, a mental lifeline. Fact or myth? Maybe that's not the right question. Maybe the real question is this. What does it say about Rikers? That men would rather believe in an impossible tunnel than in the possibility of freedom above ground.